Hey, this is Mark at the Action Figuratorium, and I wanted to do a special toy talk today where I loosely talk about the concept of toys being an evergreen product that is always constantly produced, always constantly in demand, and recycled endlessly throughout time. So stick around for this basically autistic rambling conversation. All right, so what is an evergreen product? This is a concept in retail that you're going to have a physical thing that you make that is the exact same thing, produced all the time with no variations, and is constantly in demand. People are always buying it. It is like a vending machine where you take one and another one pops down. And so what I think of in terms of an evergreen product would be, the best example I think would be sort of like candy bars and gum. It is a product essentially that is, not seasonal, thus the term evergreen. And so while you may have some seasonal candies, Halloween candy, Easter candy, there's always going to be those stock candies that never change and are always the same. And it isn't just necessities like food per se. It can be other things, sort of like a generic thing that is constantly made over and over again, kind of like a broom. But even then, you see that the style of brooms change, or like with clothes, with like jeans. You think, okay, jeans are evergreen because people are always buying jeans, but jeans are a fashion, and they have different kinds of jeans, like taper fit, peg leg, versus bell bottoms, ripped jeans, So there's really no such thing as an evergreen jean pants, right? The style is always changing, maybe with some uniforms like Dickies, button-up maintenance man shirts, or pants or something like that. They're also probably not an evergreen product. So the next question then is, could we ever get to an evergreen product within action figures, within toys? And for the most part, the flat out answer is no, because if you keep making the same toy over and over again, eventually it becomes stale and people get tired of it, and the line goes away. Essentially, it happens over and over again. And with toys, it's going to take something that is going to be produced the same over and over again for everyone, without a variation, with a constant demand. It's very difficult. And I was trying to think if there's any way that we'd ever have a toy company or a specific toy that is able to hit this. And at first I thought of Masters of the Universe, possibly at one time being an evergreen toy, with He-Man and Skeletor specifically being always available, sold every year, constantly churned out. I believe at one point they had 2 molds going for just making the He-Man body, which I think was also shared by some other figures. But I believe that they also at one point used the mold so much that it wore out and they had to make a second mold for the He-Man character. So this is a possibility, but even then, the show eventually went off the air, and people got tired of the action figures eventually, and they stopped selling, they stopped producing them, and you got to make X amount. If you don't hit that demand, then you stop making them. So is there any toy line out there today that would qualify as being able to maybe do something evergreen? And I thought maybe Star Wars is someone who could do this with, like, maybe the I think they refer to as the vintage line. It's the 3 3/4 size guys. Maybe they would just make those, sort of have them always available forever, or at least the Stormtrooper, because you're always going to be buying multiple Stormtroopers for armies. And even then, I think that if you kept it going for a really long time, I think people would realize that since it's always going to be there, right, there's always going to be stormtroopers, that there's really no rush to go out and get them because it's kind of an infinite supply, and thus the demand would slowly collapse until they actually quit making them. So I don't think even Star Wars has a way to go evergreen. One of the reasons why I was thinking about this was because I recently purchased a few of these Mythic Legions figures that they recently came out with a one-day sale. And for those of you who follow companies like the Four Horsemen who make Mythic Legions, or other companies who do Kickstarters originally to launch their product, like the guys who are doing that replica Red Skull Kickstarter, which by the way looks really cool. I wish I'd kind of gotten in on that. I sort of heard about it sort of late, and then you know, things happen. But with these Kickstarters, at first they will come out with a cool toy or cool idea, and the Kickstart to see if not only there is some money in it for them, but also I believe it is to see if these people can put together a company and actually produce and fulfill this item. And if this keeps going and you keep doing more Kickstarters, then eventually you can get to a point where you've got a big enough name to where you would you could then do pre-orders, which is kind of the same thing but a little bit different. With the Kickstarter, if you don't get the money, that's it, no one gets hurt. With the pre-order, you see how many people are willing to buy of these items. You get an idea of what the demand is like, and then you go back to the factory and you can adjust your amounts, say give me a lot of these, give me a few of these, that kind of thing, right? And eventually you can get to the part where you don't do a pre-order, you just buy a bunch, and this is what Four Horsemen did, and then they just had a sale. They just said, look, this is what's going up for sale. They didn't tell us how many there were. They just, you know, they kept it secret so that nobody would, you know, influence what they bought. Just buy whatever you like. And they ended up selling out, I believe, of everything. But this gets close to the idea of, could these guys have an evergreen product? Could they have a figure that is always in stock? A great example in the Mythic Legions line is a character that originally came out in their first Kickstarter, in which they were doing just these kind of avian birdmen medieval warriors, and they essentially kind of based the concept around the Raven character as the lead character, right? But the one that was sort of the runaway hit was the Bald Eagle action figure, who they called Eagleus, and either a fan made an American flag cloak for it, or maybe they did that and it came with it. I'm not sure the exact origins of it. They have since reissued the character Eagleus. It has ended up in one of their all-star packs, which is where fans get to vote for their favorite figures, that they do a reissue so that people can, who missed out the first time, can get them. And Eagleus has been in there, and he comes out as a 2.0 with different colored wings. They're red, white, and blue now instead of the original ones. But is this a figure that these guys could have as a type of an evergreen? That is, that they always have an Eagleus in stock for anyone who wants it, because it's not just something that like people are driven to buy because there's a possibility of making money on it. It's a collector's thing. You know, you see if you can get one of these and you know, just stick it away until it goes up in value. It might just be a fun toy that people love to have and that they could buy anytime. So this is a possibility of maybe a boutique company like Four Horsemen, or the guys who do the Red Skull, or maybe the Valorverse guys out there have a product that could be evergreen, whereas they always just make X amount a year, and it's like a harvest, and you sell them, and there's a chance you could sell out, but if you sell out, don't worry, because there'll be X amount the next year. So that's the whole concept I have on could we ever get there. And I think that maybe there's a few companies out there that I think could become an evergreen product in toys, but I don't think it's going to be big companies, Mattel, Hasbro, etc. So with that, I will catch everybody on the next one. Thanks for watching.